Let's be honest, my inventory system was kind of a mess and I didn't really have a real way to do inventory management. If that sounds like you, stay tuned because I'm about to save your life.
Won't nobody love you the way they should. Won't nobody check up on you, make sure you're good. Won't nobody check those body tremors for your neck.
Hi everyone, my name is Becky Park and I am a reseller on various platforms like Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, etc. And because I am someone who sells across multiple platforms, I use a cross-listing Chrome extension or a cross-listing service, and my tool of choice is List Perfectly. You guys, I've basically been with them since the beginning. I've had no reason to ever try any other services, and I honestly love List Perfectly so much. So I'm extremely thankful to be partnering with them on this video to share with you how I am planning on basically doing a complete overhaul of my current inventory system. Not necessarily my system, but of my inventory management system. Let's call it that. So I'm like, kind of embarrassed to show you what I was doing before with my like random spreadsheets that all had like their own little role in and of themselves.
Let's go over this really quickly because it's so embarrassing. But this was my old complete inventory spreadsheet. You can see I had the inventory number here. I had the brand name here, the item description, the size, where it was listed. This was honestly such a moot point because I would just go ahead and click on all of them because I just assumed that I would cross list to all of the platforms at some point, and I would just put not applicable if it was something that couldn't be listed to, one of those places. And then I randomly started adding in more columns. It was not working, everyone. And then I also had another spreadsheet. This is where I would process my inventory. So as soon as I hauled something, I would put that information into this spreadsheet so that I knew what my cost of goods was, because you guys know that I'm trying to keep track of that in 2021. And then I would put where I got the item, the date that I sourced the item. So it was like I had this inventory plus I had this inventory, and I would transfer the stuff from here into here. Nonsense. And then finally, I had another spreadsheet, and this was all the stuff that I have sent into eBliss thus far. So it has the eBliss SKU number here. It has the amount of, pounds or ounces that something weighs. I mean, just ridiculous. I had all these different spreadsheets that I was always trying to refer to when anything sold or when I was sending something off. I also have different spreadsheets for ThredUp pieces. It was a lot.
But I am super excited to show you what I am doing now that I've been properly trained in the ways of List Perfectly when it comes to inventory management. As I'm going through this, if you are not yet a List Perfectly user and you're thinking to yourself, my God, that sounds amazing. I really feel like I need List Perfectly in my life too. I do have a coupon code down in the description below that you can use to help you save 30% off of your first month. If you want to try out List Perfectly yourself for that inventory management piece, or for cross-listing purposes, or like me, for both, definitely check out my link in the description below. Also, there is an epic giveaway that List Perfectly has done in collaboration with me. For those of you who, even if you're already a List Perfectly user, you can still submit an entry to be entered into this amazing giveaway. And obviously, if you're brand new to List Perfectly, you can also enter the giveaway as well. So make sure that you stay tuned till the very end to see how that is going to work. I will also have timestamps in my description below if you want to skip around, or if you're coming back to this video once you started your own inventory management system within List Perfectly. If you need to kind of refresh your memory on how to do something, I will have timestamps down in the description below so that you know where to go to help guide you on your List Perfectly inventory management journey. With that being said, let's get into it. So I don't know about you, but the way that I had my inventory system set up, there were a lot of things falling through the cracks. There would be things that I thought were cross-listed on other platforms and they were not. Or there would be things that I thought I had deleted from certain, platforms and I had not. So they would sell again, even though I had already sold them, months before. Or I would go to pull something that I had sold and it was nowhere to be found. There were a lot of mistakes that, obviously cut into my profits, mistakes that make me look less professional, and mistakes that cut into my productivity. Like I'm spending an inordinate amount of time when I can't find something, going through every single bin, seeing if I have it, looking through my solds on other platforms. It's a huge waste of time. And I knew for a long time coming that I needed to do something about my inventory management. So I had created a YouTube video not too long ago. I don't even remember right now what it was about, but I got this amazing comment from a reviewer, and I will post the comment right here in its entire glory. And in essence, what she said was, look, I know you use List Perfectly, but you're not utilizing their inventory management system. And the second that she called it an inventory management system, it was like, ding. I was like, oh my gosh, that is absolutely right. Like, that's what I could use it for. So at that moment, that comment plus a bunch of other things that kind of were going on at the same time. For example, if you've been watching my channel, you know that I'm trying to outsource my shipping to a company called eBliss, but there is a lot of like, you have to keep track of your SKUs and all that kind of stuff. So as soon as I read and digested that comment, I realized that this was exactly what I was looking for. I wasn't looking to completely overhaul my current inventory system, and I'll give you a quick overview of that here.
First, I would photograph new items. I grab an empty Ziploc bag. I will write my inventory numbers on my Ziploc bags and reuse them. So when something sells, I take the item out that sold, and then I save it so that I can put the next item that needs to be inventoried into that bag. Once an item was assigned a bag or inventory number, I would write in the spreadsheet what brand the item was, what size, what platforms it was listed on. I would put the item in its assigned number bag, and then I would throw the bag in its corresponding bin where ideally I would be able to find it extremely quickly when the item sold.
When I realized that I could do inventory management through List Perfectly, it honestly was life-changing. I knew that, people who were like hardcore into List Perfectly, which I consider myself to be, but there are people who are like on a deep, deep level, like totally immersed in that List Perfectly life. And I knew that those people preached the gospel of listing into List Perfectly and pushing items out for a variety of benefits. And I didn't really comprehend what those were until I started doing it. So I'm going to be sharing all of those benefits with you today. This video really is going to be for someone who is a little bit more comfortable and has prior knowledge of how to use List Perfectly. So if you're brand new to List Perfectly, I do recommend watching this video right here first, because it's going to show you step by step how to utilize List Perfectly, especially from a cross-listing standpoint. So in this video, I'm not really going to take you through cross-listing. I will show you how to do it in terms of doing it from the List Perfectly database, but I'm not going to go through a tutorial of like what you fill in and how you do X, Y, and Z. Instead, this is really going to be more about the inventory management system. But I do highly recommend that you watch that other video that I created on how to use List Perfectly to cross-list if a lot of this is just going way over your head. So really quickly, what is List Perfectly? In case you are brand new, it is a Chrome extension that you download for a monthly fee. There are 3 tiers, and the tier that I'm going to be showing you in my tutorial is the Pro tier. I have upgraded because the Pro tier allows you to do a lot of things that, especially in the basic tier, you are not able to do. And it just honestly makes the process a lot faster. Is it expensive? It kind of is, but I would say that it is extremely affordable if you think about it in terms of the fact that because of using that Pro plan, you're going to be able to make so many more sales on other platforms because you're going to be able to cross-list faster. And hopefully you're also going to have a little bit more sanity in your life if you utilize this List Perfectly inventory management system, which you do have access to even if you're not on that Pro plan. I know that if you have the basic tier, you're not able to do things like bulk cross-list. And then the main difference when you go from business to Pro plan is within that inventory management system, and with their listing templates, it just has a lot more options when you are initially listing. The way that the template is created is very similar to an eBay listing. And if you are a multi-platform seller, if you're selling on platforms like Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Kidizen, all those different places, you know that eBay is typically the most annoying to list on because they ask for so many item specifics. And so they have a lot of those built in to the List Perfectly initial listing, which is really nice. So you already have a lot of your information, and then they format all of that information that you put into List Perfectly in a way so that when your listing is created, it comes out looking really professional. But ultimately, what List Perfectly does is it helps you cross-list really quickly from either List Perfectly to other platforms or from one platform to another platform. They have, I want to say, 11 11, it could be 10 to 11 marketplaces on their site right now that you can cross list to, which is amazing. And like I said, they also have an inventory database, an inventory management system. So all of your listings, all of your pictures, all of your everything can live within List Perfectly. You can access that information from your phone as well as from your laptop. So now when I sell stuff, I don't have to go to my laptop and like write things down. If I want, I can just carry my phone around with me while I'm pulling things that need to be shipped. I can just type in the brand name of the items that I'm looking for, and I can find all of the information that I need to ship, including my inventory number that's on my little Ziploc bags. So with that being said, why don't you come with me on a tour of the List Perfectly inventory management system? I am now going to do a short little tour of the List Perfectly catalog. It is a catalog. I kept calling it a database earlier, but catalog is the proper term. And one really cool thing about List Perfectly is that they recently came out with an announcement that every single List Perfectly user would have an unlimited number of listings within their catalog. It used to be that you only got a certain amount depending on which plan you were a part of, but now they've given everyone an unlimited amount, which is amazing. So let's go ahead and start at the very top. There are some drop-down menus here. Within products, you see options like add product, which is what you can click on to add a brand new listing. You can obviously do that right here as well. You can also look at my products, which is everything that's within your, I want to call it database again, within your catalog. You can add templates, which is really cool. They also have some pre-made templates that I'll show you in a bit. They do actually have some really great sales analytics. And I'm sad that I can't show you this today, but I just can't because I haven't been using this for that long. And so I don't have a lot of information within the sales analytics, but I'm going to show you what you can do within the List Perfectly inventory management system in order to put in the necessary information so that you can start looking at your sales analytics across all of the platforms that you sell on, which is really exciting. And then finally, all of the information that you see down here, you can actually download into an Excel. This is something that I know one of the people in charge of List Perfectly, Clara, she said that she will download all of the information from her catalog, including all of her sales information, and she will just present that spreadsheet to her accountant. And she said that her accountant loves it. So if you wanted to do something similar to that, you would just download the CSV right here. And then under help and news, they have some really great resources for whenever you may have questions. Also, like if you go into help and news, they have just really great guides. Like for example, if you're on the Pro plan, they have guides to teach you how to get the most out of creating a listing within the Pro plan. If you have questions, I would go here first. And then finally, just account. So up here, there are a bunch of different search bars so that you can search for your listings the way that you like to search for them. So if you just want to search within your entire catalog, let's say you just want to type in the brand name, you can do that here. So let's say I want to look for, oh, there's a bunch that I was looking up earlier today, but let's say you want to look for American Eagle. That's one of my bread and butter brands. So if I type that in, everything that has the word American Eagle in any part of the listing really is going to show up here. Let's say I even want to search for items that I have sourced at specific sourcing spots. So let's put Karen's Closet because that is the name of one of the consignment stores that I like to go to often. So you can see, even though I don't write Karen's Closet, obviously in the title, if I just want to see what items I have within my catalog that are from Karen's Closet, that's actually something that I put in the notes section. I can search for it by searching for everything. I can obviously search for words that are in the title. I can search for keywords and tags. I can search by the SKU, and I can search by marketplace. Below that, you will see options to add a product. So this is if you want to, create a new listing. You can see that I can add a template. I can go back to my main menu. I can get help, and I can draft listings. So let's go ahead and look at the catalog. And basically, one way to think about it is to look at it as an Excel sheet. And this is one line, this is one line, and so on and so forth. So on the very left, you will see the infamous cross-listing icon. It's those two arrows. So let's go ahead and pick something to play around with. So this pair of Rag & Bone boots, I've already listed to all the different platforms, which you can see right here, and we'll get to that here in a second. But if I click on the infamous, cross-listing
arrow icon, what it will do is it will open up this page that a lot of us are probably really familiar with. This is what we see when we want to cross list. So what I'm going to do is I can select the different items that I want to cross list to. So let's go ahead and pick Mercari, Poshmark, and eBay. If I press copy, then what'll happen is it will open up the listing in those 3 different reselling platforms. And so here it is on Mercari. So there is the title. My pictures will get there in a second. There are the pictures. Here's the description. And you can see my tags because there's a spot within List Perfectly to put some tags in. It's just pulled the first 3. I would honestly probably change them just because these are not the best tags for Mercari. And you can also see that I need to condense the listing down a little bit. And you can see how, because I have cross-listed from List Perfectly, they've already done some things with like bullets because I put information in regarding like the print, that sort of thing. So it just looks really professional. And then I have to still do a few things. Like I still have to say that this is a woman's boot, but the brand has been brought over. I do have to select the shaft, height. I have to select some of these things that are specific to Mercari, right? So I'm going to say every day, and so on and so forth. But you can see how it has opened up new tabs. Here's Poshmark's with the listing, with all of the information already there. Here is eBay's. And that's what a lot of people use List Perfectly for, is to cross list. However, one of the greatest benefits to listing directly into List Perfectly and then pushing those listings out onto other platforms is that when an item sells, you can end that listing on all of the platforms that you have it listed on with one button. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to go to an item that has sold. So this Lucky Brand hat, it already sold, and you can see that it says sold here. But the way that you would do it is you would click on the icon again and select to mark sold. And by doing so, it's going to by default just highlight all of the different reselling platforms. But I'm going to go ahead and unselect or deselect the ones that I don't actually cross list to. So I'm just left with the ones that this hat was actually listed on. And what I can do is I'm going to click mark sold, and you'll see a little pop-up. It says listings will be ended or removed on platforms. I say okay. And what it starts to do is go to all of my various platforms, and it's going to go ahead and delete them. I'm not going to check it for you because I already actually went through this process. On Facebook Marketplace, you do have to press like one more button. I think you press something to say, did it sell on Facebook or somewhere else? It's so fast, and it's so much faster than my old process, which was every night before I went to bed, I would go through each platform and I would see what sold, and I would delete it manually from all of the other platforms that it was already listed on. So I would sit there and I would search for the brand, and it was like a 20-30 minute process every night. And now I've cut down the amount of time that it takes to do that by like 95%, I would say. This is amazing. And then what happens is it will show you on your catalog on List Perfectly, so that if you can, reference this later, it'll show you which platform it actually sold on. And for me, it sold on Poshmark. What if something sells and you're not at home with your computer? Unfortunately, because you're not able to put Chrome extensions on your phone, you can't cross list from your phone, and you cannot end listings the same way that you do, when I showed it to you from my laptop, where I literally pressed one button and it just went ahead and deleted everything. But what you can do, especially if you are sitting on a really hot item that you're scared is going to sell on other platforms before you can get home. Let's say that this pair of Joe's denim Bermuda shorts falls under that camp. It does not. I will be lucky to sell these, but let's say it sold for me on eBay. All I have to do is this column right here that shows all the platforms that this pair of shorts is listed on. I can click on any of those platform names. So let's say I click on Poshmark. What's going to happen is it's going to allow me to open that listing on Poshmark, and I can just go ahead and delete it right here. I'm not going to do it because it didn't actually sell, but I can do that for all of my listings. I can do that from List Perfectly. So although this is not quite as fast as what you saw me do on the computer, it's still a lot faster than having to search through your different
platforms by typing the name of the brand or whatever, you can literally have that information that you need at the click of a button, which is really cool. So that's one thing that you can do. You can also use the cross-listing icon to end your listing. Now, why would you want to do that? One reason you might want to end your listings is to relist items. And this is great because you can relist in bulk, not just, on one platform, but you can relist in bulk on a number of platforms. So let's say, for instance, that this J. Jill plaid short sleeve dress, I haven't even listed it yet, but let's say it's been listed for 30 days. eBay is going to go ahead and relist it automatically. And rather than having eBay do that, I can decide, you know what, I'll just end the listing and then I'll sell similar. And since I'm ending the listing on eBay, that means it's been listed for about a month. Let me just go ahead and end that listing on all of my other platforms that it's listed on, and I'll just go ahead and relist it. So then what you do is you select the icon, you select the different platforms that you want to end the listing on, it'll end the listing, and then you just go ahead and copy the listing and basically push it out to all of your platforms that you want to sell it on. And it's just like cross-listing the way that you did the very first time. So that is what is so incredible about this inventory management system. It's not just a place to see where everything is. It's not just a place to stay organized, but there are a lot of great functions within this as well. So that is some of the things that you can do with the almighty icon, okay? And then you'll notice that in the next column, you see the cover photo of your listing. That's something that maybe you can do that on Excel. I don't know. I am not by any means an Excel whiz. I hate spreadsheets. If you probably couldn't tell from seeing the sorry excuses of spreadsheets earlier. And so I don't know if you can get pictures into Excel, but you can here, which is really cool. It's really helpful for someone who's a very visual person like me. You can see this right here for this Free People listing. That's not what I want as the cover photo. And I'll show you really quickly how to move that around. All I have to do is go over here. I can just push this over so that this is the picture as the cover photo. This picture, for whatever reason, didn't get transferred over. So I'll just have to choose a file and throw that file in there. And I actually do that from my phone. But since I have the right cover photo now, I'm going to go ahead and press update, and we are good to go. That should fix that. There you go. The next thing that you'll notice, the next column, is the title. This is the title that I type into List Perfectly. I always start it with the brand name because that's what I do on all of my other reselling platforms as well. So when I go to sort by title, it'll put it in alphabetical order by brand, which is exactly what I want. The next thing that you will see is the SKU. This is where I put the number that I have on the Ziploc bag. So right now, this Free People top is inside of my Ziploc bag 607, and that Ziploc bag is inside of bin 601 to 625. So when this item sells, I know where to go to find it so that I can pull it quickly to ship it. And I can also access this catalog from my phone. So I can just carry my phone with me over to my bins. I don't have to write stuff down anymore the way that I used to. And that's amazing because it's portable, it's fast. I have the information that I need in multiple places on my laptop and on my phone. The next column over is price. This is where, for example, this pair of Nike shorts, I had priced them at $50. And then in the next column over, this is probably one of my favorite features of this inventory management system. The cool thing is that it will show you where you have the item listed currently. If it doesn't show anything, that means it's only on List Perfectly. And then like this pair of shorts, for example, is only on Poshmark and Facebook. That's because I am currently re-recording this tutorial because the sound on the last one was awful. So I took out my mic, and for the last tutorial, I was showing how I listed this over, and I just, cross-listed it over to Poshmark and Facebook. But one thing I love about that is because of that, I can look at this now and I know that I need to continue cross-listing this because it's not on all of my platforms. The same goes for this item right here. This is only on eBay and Poshmark. And so at a very quick glance, I know that I haven't cross-listed it over to all of my other reselling platforms. However, if you look at this item, for example, you can see that it's on the majority of the platforms that I sell on. I don't have it on Shopify because I don't put items less than $25 in my Shopify store. So you can see that this has most of my reselling platforms, so it's good to go. That way,
I'm not missing any of my reselling platforms. Whereas with my old system, I would realize way after the fact that an item was only listed on Poshmark or only listed on eBay. This helps me stay organized and know where things have been listed. And then the next column over, I can edit, I can duplicate a listing if I want to, or I can add a template. The next column over is to see when I last updated a listing. So you guys saw me just update this, a few minutes ago, which is why it's saying that it was updated on April 18th. But also you can see when that listing was created. And if I want to sort to see, what are my oldest created listings, I can sort by, date. And then in the middle here, this is where you can put notes that don't go into the listing anywhere. So it's not anything that anyone would see. It's only here within the List Perfectly catalog. This is where I put where I source the item as well as the date. That is a quick overview of what the List Perfectly catalog looks like.
So now that you've seen for yourself how amazing the List Perfectly inventory management system is, I want to share some of my goals with you in regards to how I want to utilize my List Perfectly inventory management system. First of all, obviously I don't have all of my listings transferred into the List Perfectly database yet. That's going to take some time. I'll be honest with you. It's going to take some time to just sit there and process everything from eBay into List Perfectly. So if you're like me and you have a ton of already listed and cross-listed inventory and you're trying to figure out, well, how can I get that stuff into the List Perfectly database? Let me show you.
So I'm going to go ahead and choose this Express shirt, okay? So I want to get this Express shirt into my List Perfectly database. And so what I'm going to select is the infamous icon, the cross-listing icon, and I'm going to select List Perfectly. And so what I do is I press copy, and now what it's going to do is it's going to copy the listing from eBay into List Perfectly, and I'm going to be able to go ahead and start filling out some of that information. So here it is. I don't know why it opened Shopify, but here is the listing from eBay. It's importing the pictures into List Perfectly, and here is my listing. You can see the picture, you can see the title. I don't have a SKU for it yet because I didn't have one in there on eBay. You can see the eBay price. You can see that it's listed on eBay and all the other stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edit entry. And what you would do is, in order to show List Perfectly, hey, I've actually already listed this to a bunch of different other platforms and I'd like for you to reflect that. What I would do is I would go into inventory and sales, and I'm going to go ahead and find this listing on my other platforms. So let's go ahead and find it on Poshmark. I'm going to go to my closet. I'm going to search by brand. So let's go ahead and type Express. I could also, filter by category and all that stuff, but here it is. I found it pretty quickly. I'm going to click on this listing, and up here, if you look at the last set of numbers and letters after the last dash, that is this listing's item number. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to copy, I'm going to go back into List Perfectly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Poshmark, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that item number right here. Let's do it for one more place. Let's go into Mercari. We're going to go ahead and look for this listing in Mercari. Here it is. So same thing. I'm going to click on the listing, and right here in the last section in between these little, what are these called? Those things. That is the item number for Mercari. So I'm going to go ahead and copy. I'm going to go back into List Perfectly, and I'm going to paste. And don't forget also to select Mercari up here. Does this take a while? It does. But it's worth it to put all of that information into List Perfectly, because once this Express top sells, I'm going to be able to delete it with the click of one button from all of the platforms that it's sold on. And I'm going to be able to have all of this information regarding profit, regarding how much it sold for, regarding, all this information. And I'm going to be able to push that information into my sales analytics that we looked at up here, which is really instrumental in knowing my numbers, knowing what's going on in my business. So yes, it takes some time, but it's worth that time. So I go ahead and put all of that information here, and that's what I would use platform IDs for.
So how do I list when it comes to the List Perfectly inventory management system? First of all, there's kind of a variety of ways that you can do it, which I love. You don't have to stick to one system. And I like how when you look at your database, you can see what pieces of the puzzle are missing. So now I'm going to share with you how I am listing into List Perfectly first. I kind of do it a variety of ways, to be honest with you. So I'm going to show you all of those ways, and hopefully one of those things resonates with you. My biggest concern going into this was that I didn't want to have to completely create a brand new system. I had a system that was working for me. I would take pictures, I would edit them on my phone, and I would draft listings on my phone first so that I had all my pictures in Poshmark, in listings, and then I would go onto my laptop later when I had time and I would finish drafting those listings and push them out live. That way I didn't have to sit there and like type all this stuff with my hands on my phone, because if you guys have been watching my channel, you know that I've been suffering with a lot of like wrist and elbow pain just from being on my phone too much. So I'm always trying to limit the amount of time that I'm actually doing this on my phone. So I wanted a system that was going to be similar to that. And what I learned was that you can access your database from your phone on List Perfectly, and all I do is basically the same thing.
What I'm going to show you now is how I draft into List Perfectly from my phone. So I'm going to show you two things. So as I shared earlier, I like to process my inventory by typing in the items that I got from various, thrift stores and whatnot. And I like to write my cost of goods. I like to write the place and the date where I got the item. And sometimes that's all that's in List Perfectly first. I don't think I have anything like that right now, because I think all of the things that I have written down into List Perfectly, I also have pictures for, and I've actually already put into baggies. So you'll notice with this vest, I have the name of the vest, I have the inventory number, and all it needs right now is the pictures. And then it also needs, the rest of the listing to be finished. So I can press on that edit icon, and all I have to do is put in my pictures. Now, normally I would edit these first because I haven't edited these yet. Here they are. So here is my Ibex vest pictures. I'm just going to select them. I'm going to add them. And so now they're getting processed within List Perfectly. By the way, pictures look really good when you put them into List Perfectly first. Sometimes some wonky things can happen every once in a while when you are cross-listing from Poshmark to other platforms or something like that. But you're basically guaranteed like the best quality picture if you go into List Perfectly first and then push those listings out. So you can see it's processing all of my pictures, and now they're going to be in there for me so that I can just, finish the draft or finish the listing and push them out. So here they are. If I wanted to move the order around, because this is literally the order that they're going to show up in, like let's say instead of seeing this semi close-up of the vest next, let's say the next thing I wanted to see was the back, I could literally just pick it up and move it over, and now it's in the order that I want. And actually, because this was a black item, I don't really need to do more editing, so I'll just keep it like this. Hooray. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll all the way down, and I'm going to click update, which means that it's going to update this and take me back to all of my other products. If I click save progress, it's just going to save the progress that I've done on this draft, but also keep me on this draft, which is really good if you happen to be somewhere where you don't have good internet connection for some reason. But I'm going to go ahead and just click update. And so now you will see this listing with the pictures in it, which is amazing, right here at the very top. So another thing that I can do though that I want to show you is if I add product, and let's say all I have are the pictures for some reason. I don't know why that would be the case, but that's how I used to do it on Poshmark, is like if I just have the pictures and I want to get the pictures in here so that I can get them off my phone, then I can obviously just upload the pictures, maybe put like the brand name and the product title and save my listing and just wait for another time when I can finish the listing, put in the cost of goods information, all that kind of stuff. So really you can tailor this process to fit your needs and how you like to list, cross list, draft, etc. So let's go ahead and look at an item that has been listed into List Perfectly and pushed out to all of my reselling platforms. And that way you can see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and select this pair of Columbia swim trunks. So I'm going to go ahead and press edit. you can see all of my pictures here. If I wanted to add more pictures, I would just go to choose file and I can add pictures that way. And if I wanted to use a template to list from, you can see some of their pre-made templates here, but that's where the templates live. Here is my product title. You're going to see that List Perfectly gives you 140 characters. I wouldn't advise using all of them just because on very few reselling platforms you get that many characters, but I just go ahead and fill out, a pretty good listing title. I know that I'll probably have to add more when it comes to eBay. I know I'll have to truncate this when it comes to Mercari, but it's like a pretty good title with, the different keywords that I want in it. And then a cool feature of List Perfectly is that when you start putting some of the information into the List Perfectly listing, once you've put that information in, you can actually ask List Perfectly to suggest a title for you. So based off of the information that I put into the listing, they are going to suggest this as a title. It's not a whole lot, but it has things like Columbia, large is the size, solid, nylon. I like the title that I have more, but perhaps if you fill in all of the information, this would be really helpful to you. So the short description, which is what I have right here, this is where I am putting what I want to show up in my listings, right? So right here, the description, this is what I'm going to put into the short description portion of the List Perfectly listing. So that's what my short description is. Here you can see the brand. This is where you would put the color. I think I just didn't put a color because I was like, what would you call that? It's like not really blue. It's not really green. So I just left it alone. I put the material. You can put the style and features. I could probably put swim trunks here. Not that it matters because this listing has already been pushed out. You put the size and then you say who it's intended for. By the way, for size, especially for Poshmark, I'm realizing that it helps to just put the letter because whenever I write the word out, like when I write large, when I cross list over to Poshmark, it puts that in as a custom size if I do it like this. So I would advise that you just put the letter like L or M for medium. And then I put men's because that's who it's intended for. The condition of these shorts is new. I also click new with tags. If I wanted to put condition notes, like for example, if something had a flaw, you could put that here. And the nice thing is it will go ahead and add that into the listing description. So this is something that is specific just to people on the Pro plan. This is where you can put optional additional specifics. For example, the pattern or texture in which I put solid, the season or weather, I put summer, care. So if it's like machine washable, you can put that here, what country it was made in, and it will create bullet points for all of these additional specifics, which is really cool. You can also have a measurements area of your listing. So if you are the type of person that likes to actually type out the measurement listings, this is where they would go. And then if you have something that you like to live at the bottom of your descriptions, for example, like a thank you, you could type that here. This is where you're going to go ahead and put your keywords or tags. And this is what they're going to pull from for, Poshmark and Mercari. You know how they let you have 3 style tags? They're going to just pull the first 3 from this section here. And if you want them to suggest keywords, they can do that too. So they're suggesting things like Columbia, nylon, omni shade, UPF 50, all really great suggestions. So I definitely probably should have incorporated some of those, but I did not. This is what I came up with.
So another way that I'm going to be using my List Perfectly inventory management system is that when I go out sourcing, I can process all of my pieces right then and there by typing the information into my List Perfectly inventory management system.
This is what I love because this is helping me stay organized and put all of the information that I want into the catalog versus having a bunch of different spreadsheets with information everywhere. I can put my cost of goods here. My cost of goods on this pair of swim trunks was around $3. I can put my price here. I can put the retail price right here, which was $40. I put my SKU, which for me is just, again, the number that's on the Ziploc bag. And for this particular pair of shorts, it's 360. I can put quantity if I want. UPC, I don't even know what that is, but if you have something for that, you could put it there. I love this section right here. The next section is shipping and variations. They're still working on this piece of the List Perfectly listing. As of right now, if you have variations on a listing, for example, you've got the same pair of pants, but they're in a bunch of different colors and sizes. If that's the case, if I were you, honestly, I would create a listing per item. And if you have multiples of that same item, like it's the same color and it's the same size, but you happen to have like 3 pairs of them, then I would just go ahead and say, okay, I have 3 of them. But otherwise, I would just create a new listing for each item because they are still working on this. And also, it gets really tricky going from something like this to something like eBay or even Poshmark. So for now, I would say maybe don't worry about this yet. But you can put in shipping weight information, which is really great. You can put in your shipping zip code or city code because eBay does want that information. If you know the length and width and height of your package, you can go ahead and fill out that information here as well. So by putting it in here first, you're saving time later, not only with your eBay listing, but also when it comes time to do your shipping, you already have all that information here, so you don't have to figure it out later. That is, of course, if you are the type of person that figures all that stuff out at the beginning, which if you are, I'm jealous of you. And then over here, this is what's amazing. So this pair of shorts has not sold yet, but let's say it sold on Poshmark and let's say it sold for $25. I have it listed for $30, but let's say it sold for $25. Right now, it's showing a negative $3 profit because up here, we put that my cost of goods was $3. So they're saying, hey, you're in the negative right now, $3. But if I go ahead and put, but you know what? I sold it for $25. It's showing my profit at $22. But let's say, but hold on, I sold it on Poshmark. So they took 20% of $25. So they took $5. Now it dropped my profit automatically to 17. And then let's say shipping, I gave a shipping discount of $2.46. This is my actual profit. You guys, I used to do this all by hand for my What Sold videos. And now it's all here. Amazeballs. So now in the middle, this is where you can see all of the places that this pair of swim trunks is listed. Finally, at the very bottom, we've got some customizations. This is where you can just choose, how you want your description to be built. Do you want it to be in a normal listing or do you want List Perfectly to shorten the listing? That might be helpful if you're working within a platform like Poshmark that just doesn't allow for as many characters within the description. Your bullet style, if you want normal bullet points, emoji bullet points, or no bullet points, if you want to use inches or centimeters for your measurements, and then a description preview. They're showing you what the description is going to look like and how professional it's going to look, which is really cool. And then at the bottom, again, this is very instrumental for the way that I have been creating my listings and the way that I want to use my List Perfectly inventory management system. I go ahead and put where I got the item down here, as well as the date that I sourced that item. So this is a pair of swim trunks. I actually got this from a men's ThredUp rescue box. I'm not going to put the date just because I don't know the date because this is an older item. And that's it. You can see I have some stuff that has sold and it's just still living here like this. If I wanted to, I could delete that. I don't know if that messes with my sales analytics though. So I'm going to have another conversation with people over at List Perfectly and see at what point they would delete a listing. I would assume maybe if you have something and you realize, ooh, I can't actually sell that because there's a flaw that I didn't notice, then you could go ahead and delete it so that you get rid of some of this clutter.
I've even found that List Perfectly is great for just like mistakes that I make. For example, perhaps I accidentally delete a listing in the process of copying that listing and relisting it on Poshmark. I've done that a handful of times.
This, you see, there are no pictures, there's no information, but in the notes, I went ahead and wrote, accidentally deleted from Poshmark, cross-list from eBay to Poshmark when you get the chance. This is something that I was relisting using Seller Insight, and I was just moving too fast, and I deleted the listing before I actually got a chance to relist it. And so rather than try to just remember, because that's not going to happen, I went ahead and just started a listing for this pair of Oxfords in List Perfectly. And I made a note to myself. And I also know I don't have this in List Perfectly to begin with. So I'm just reminding myself to do that too. So that's, another listing that's in here for another reason, but it's a really great place to have this information.
I feel like I shared so much with you about the inventory management system. I am probably missing things. There are some of you watching who are complete pros when it comes to the List Perfectly inventory management system. And if I did miss something, please let all of us know in the comments below. If you have any questions, you can leave those in the comments below as well, because I want to make sure that you fully understand how helpful this is going to be for you as a reseller, especially, like I said, if you are on a bunch of different platforms the way that I am. And finally, I want to share with you the epic and amazing giveaway that List Perfectly is doing with me for not just people who are new to List Perfectly, but also people who have been loyal and faithful List Perfectly users. So let me share with you. Here's what's at stake. There are 4 winners, okay? 3 winners will win 1 free month of List Perfectly. So whether you are already a user or whether you are brand new to List Perfectly, you're going to get a free month if you win, and that's for 3 people. And then 1 winner is going to win a Chromebook. Isn't that insane? So in order to be able to use List Perfectly, you have to have Google Chrome on your computer or laptop. And that's why List Perfectly is going to give away a Chromebook laptop to 1 person who enters this giveaway, so that you have something lightweight and portable to take with you anywhere you need to go, so that you can list into List Perfectly and cross list, all because you just entered this giveaway. How cool is that? So here are the rules. In order to enter the giveaway, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You have to subscribe to List Perfectly's YouTube channel, and I will have their channel linked down in the description below. In the comment section, leave a comment marketing yourself, basically. Share with us what your Poshmark closet is, where your eBay store is at. You can just straight up put links in there, and that's how you enter to win. For 10 additional entries into this amazing giveaway, in your comment, let us know if you are an existing List Perfectly user, and just for already being a List Perfectly user, you will have 10 bonus entries. Or if you are not a List Perfectly user yet, then you can sign up using my code Becky Park for 30% off of your first month, and that will give you 10 additional bonus entries as well. Winners will be announced at the end of April, which is the end of Earth Month, which is one of the reasons why they wanted to partner with me in this way. And I will be announcing them on my channel as well as on Instagram. So definitely make sure that if you're not following me on Instagram either, that you follow me. The handle is @BeckyPark on Poshmark. You should also follow List Perfectly, because they are a really fun account to follow over on Instagram as well. Thank you again, List Perfectly, for partnering with me for this giveaway, and honestly, most importantly, for just helping me get my sanity back when it comes to all of my inventory and keeping track of it. You guys, I cannot say enough kind words about List Perfectly. I really can't. One other thing I wanted to draw your attention to is that I will have members of the List Perfectly team live on my channel in a couple weeks. So if you haven't already, definitely turn on your notifications for my channel as well, so that every time I upload new content, you are alerted. And when I have List Perfectly on my YouTube channel, you will be able to tune into that live video and continue learning more about List Perfectly. That is it for today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.